Welcome to Google Sheet tutorial. Today, I'll teach you how I have created my budget by paycheck template. This template is a multi-tab template. It also comes with a dashboard and the required graphs. I'll teach you from scratch how I have created this template. Here is how my budget overview dashboard will look like. So first I have the overview, so we can try to choose the start date and end date for the complete dashboard. Then I have the overview table. Below that, I have the income, savings, bill, expense and my debt table over here. Also, at the top, I have the graph. So how much you have planned and what is the actual, then the complete breakdown of our tables and also the complete graph to see our expenses. It's a multi-tab template. So first we have our input categories over here. So where we can enter all our categories for income, savings, bills, expense and debt. Also here we have the transaction table where we can have our complete transactions over here. So we can list down all our transaction over here. Whatever we are going to enter in the input data sheet and transaction sheet, that we'll be using to create our budget overview dashboard. Let's get started. I opened a new spreadsheet. I'll go and name the sheet as budget by paycheck. Next, I'll go and name the sheet as input data. So here in the input data, I'll first try to go to the top of the sheet. I'll try to merge center and then I'll say input data as the title over here. And also I'll do the formatting. I'll little bit increase size to 18 and make this bold, and also I'll make it center line. Then I'll fill this with a theme color. First, let me create a table for our income. So I'll say income and I'll make this bold, and also I'll increase size. I'll increase the width of this column and I'll add the background color for this. So here I'll list down all the subcategories below our income. So let's say I'm going to have a main job. So that is going to be one of the income. And then let's say it's going to be freelance. So that's going to be another income. So then I'll have some income category and I'll say income category 1. Like this, we can have some 3 income categories. I'll just list it down over here. So this is the income subcategories. Now, next I'll come to the savings. So here I'll do the formatting. So I'll make it bold. I'll add the background color for this. I'll also increase the width of this column. So here I'll list down all my saving category. So I'll say general savings. Then I'll say for education, there's going to be some savings. Let's call the others as saving category. So I'll say saving category 1. Like this, we can have multiple categories. Next, I'll come for the bills. So here I'll have the bills and the due date for my bills. I'll select this. I'll increase size. I'll do the formatting. Now I can list down all my bills over here. So let me say the first bill is going to be Wi-Fi and the due date. Let's keep it 1st of every month. And then let's say I'm going to have electricity and it's going to be 5th of every month. Then I'll have bill category. Bill category 1. So like this, we can have multiple bill categories. The 4th table is going to be our expense table. So I'll say expense. I'll do the formatting. So here I can list down all my expenses. So first, let me say for food and then rent. Then I'll call it expense category. And I'll have some other expense category. So you can enter your expense category according to your deal. So last, I'll have the debt and the due date for that. So I'll select this. I'll do the formatting. Here, first, let me say I'm going to have a credit card bill. So the due date is going to be 1st. Then let's say it's going to be a personal loan. So, and it's going to be 5th of every month. And then I can have other debts as well. Now this is going to be my complete input data. Now I'll go and create another sheet. So here I'll call the sheet as transactions. So first I'll select these cells. I'll merge center. So here I'll say it as transactions. I'll increase the size of this and I'll do the formatting. I'll also make it center line. So here in the table, first I'll have date, then the value. Next I'll have the category. Then I'll have the subcategory. And then I'll have the details. So I'll completely select this. I'll make this bold. We can also increase size. And I'll have the background color for this. Also, I'll adjust the columns. So in this transaction table, we can enter all our transactions. So for example, if there is going to be some income, we can have the category as income and the subcategory is going to be like main job. And then we can add the value over here. So like this transaction table, you can try to fill in with your complete transaction details. Next, let me create another sheet. So here I'll call this sheet as budget overview. So I'll go to the top and then I'll have the title over here. So I'll merge this. So here I'll say budget overview. I'll increase the size and then I'll do the formatting. Now let's have an overview for a start date and end date. So I'll completely select this. Here I'll say as overview. And below that one, let me try to combine these two cells. So here I'll say it as start date. And below this one, I'll try to combine these two cells. So here I'll say it as end date. I'll try to select all these three and then I'll do the formatting. So this one, I'll make it center line and I'll fill in with a background color. So for these two also, I'll fill in with a background color. So here we can say our start date. So let's say our start date is going to be 1st Jan 2025. Next, the end date is going to be 31st July 2020. Let's say this is going to be the start and end date. So I'll completely select this. I'll also have the borders for this one. Now, let me give some space at the top for the dashboard and then we'll come to the important tables. So first, let me say I'm going to have the income table. So I'll say income over here and then below this one, I'll have plan and the actual value. So here I'll try to completely select this. I'll increase the size, make it bold, and also I'll make this center line. Now I'll try to fill in the color for the title and then I'll try to fill in the color for here as well. Now what we need to do is, here I need to mention all the subcategories, whatever we had for income in the input data. So like main job, freelance, all these categories are there, right? I need to mention all these categories in a budget overview. So to do that, I'll be using the if formula. So I'll say if, I'll open the brackets, I'll go to the input data. So here I'll select the main job. So if this cell is going to be empty, so that's the condition I'm giving, just opening and closing quotations. So if it's going to be empty, I'll have no value. So if this condition is true, there'll be no value. Else, I want the same value, that is same whatever is there inside the cell, I want that to be there. So I'll select this and then I'll press enter. So I'll get main job over here. So now when I try to flash fill, see I'm able to get the complete categories, whatever I had below the income. Now we can have the planned value. So I'm going to plan that from main job, I'll get $1,800 and from freelance, let's say it's going to be $600. Like this, we can have the planned. For others also, you can try to fill it. Next, let me come to the actual value. So here, the actual value is nothing but it should be the sum of all the transactions for the main job in the transactions table within this range. So this range, the start date and end date is there, right? So between this range of date, whatever values are there, we need to find the sum of that and then we need to give it over here. So that's going to be the actual value. So here I'll be using the formula. So here I'll say is equal to, so if error, I'll open the brackets and then I'm going to have the sum ifs formula. So since there are going to be multiple conditions over here. So first I'll go to the transaction table and then which value I need to sum up. So I'll try to completely select this. So the value over here, then I'll give comma. So next is I need to give first criteria range. So let's say the date is going to be the first criteria. So I'll select the first criteria range over here. Then I'll give comma. So inside the quotations, I'm going to say the date should be greater than or equal to my start date, right? So I'll come to the budgets overview and then here I'll say, so it should be greater than or equal to this start date. So here I'll say is equal to, if error, I'll open the brackets. So here I'll say sum ifs and then I'll open the brackets. So I'll go to the transaction table. So first I need to select the range of values which it needs to add. So it's going to be the value right over here. So I'll select this, I'll say comma. Then we need to select the criteria 1 range. So the criteria one, let's have, it's going to be the date. So I'll select this date, comma, and then the condition is going to be, it should be greater than or equal to my start date. So I'll close this quotations, I'll say and I'll come to the budget and I'll select the start date over here. So this is going to be my start date. So here it is the complete criteria range, and here after that I've given the condition. So next I'll give comma, then we'll have the second criteria. I'll come over here. Second criteria is also going to be same date. So I'll say date, comma, then inside the quotation it should be less than or equal to our date, right? The end date. So I'll go to budget overview. So I'll come and select the end date. So then comma. So the third condition is going to be whether the subcategory should be matched in a transaction table. Here I'll go to the transactions. I'll completely select subcategory and then I'll give comma. So here the condition is going to be whether it should be equal to the main job. So here I have the main job, right? So it should be equal to that one. This is the third criteria and condition. So I'll close this. I'll give comma and 0. If it is going to be an error, it will be 0. Now when I press enter, I'm getting at 0. Since there are no transactions in my transaction table. So that's why I'm getting it as 0. So also, if I want to flash fill this formula, I'll try to do the absolute referencing. So I'll try to add the dollar symbol before the rows and columns over here. Since it's going to be the same for most of our table. And the start date, end date is also going to remain the same. So I'll try to do the absolute referencing over here. So the only thing which will change is the main job. So that subcategory is only the thing which will change. So for this alone, I'll not do the referencing. Now I'll press enter. So here we'll get it. So also I'll try to drag it and then I'll try to flash fill. So now when I come to the next cell, you can see it's B27. So B27 is nothing but freelance IR. So automatically it has changed. Okay, so like this, it will change. So this is my complete income table. So now I'll come over here, I'll say total, and then I'll calculate the sum of the planned and the actual. So sum of planned is nothing but, I'll select this, I'll find the sum. Next, I'll try to calculate the sum of all the actual values. So I'll press enter. So I've got the actual value. So I'll try to completely select this. I'll increase the size, make it bold, and I'll do the formatting. Next, let me try to do it for the savings table. So it's going to be pretty same. The headers are, I'll copy and paste this. So here I'll say savings. And here what I need to do is I need to actually get all the savings subcategory from my input data. So same way I'll say is equal to if, I'll open the brackets, I'll go to the input data. So here if the cell is going to be empty, so I'll have no value, or else I want the same value whatever is there inside the cell. So I'll press enter. So we have got the complete subcategories of our savings. Now the planned value, I can just say what I'm going to plan for the general savings. So let's say it's going to be $400, and for education, let's say $320. Now, if I want to find the actual value, so I will just use the same formula. There is only little change in the formula. So I'll try to copy and paste this one. So here, instead of this F26, what I'm going to do is I'll select this general savings. So that's nothing but F26. Already it has correctly got filled. So here I'll select this and then I'll press enter. So this is going to be my general savings. I'll try to flash fill the actual value for all these things. I'm just getting 0. Now I'll try to find out the total value. So here it's going to be equal to sum of all the planned value, and for next it's going to be sum of all the actual value. So I'll select this. So next I will do the formatting. So here is a complete savings table. Next, let's have the bills table. So I'll copy this, I'll paste this over here. So it's going to be my bills, and here I need to fetch the data from the input data. So I'll go to input data. So here if the cell is going to be empty, I'll have no value, or else I'll have the same value. I'll flash fill. Then I'll come and have the planned value. So for Wi-Fi, let's say it's going to be $40, and for electricity, let's consider $85, and let's calculate the actual value. The same formula. So I'll just try to copy paste it. So here I'll just go and check it whether the cell is J26, right? So the Wi-Fi is selected correctly. So now I'll enter and I'll try to flash fill this for all the categories. Now let me try to find the total. So it's equal to sum of all the planned values. And here it's going to be sum of all the actual value. I'll do the formatting for this. Next, let's have a expense table. So I'll come here for the expense table. So I'll name this as expense. And here I'll say is equal to if we'll fetch the data from the input table. If this is going to be equal to no value, so I'll have no value, or else I'll have the same value. I'll try to flash fill this. And then let's say the planned value for food is $220 and the rent is going to be $450. So I'll adjust the column a little bit. Now we'll find the actual value. So same formula, I'll just try to copy and paste it and then check whether it's correctly selected. So here N26 is correctly selected. So I'll have this and I'll try to flash fill this for all the rows. Now let me try to come and calculate the sum. It's going to be is equal to sum and the sum of all the planned values in the expense. And here it's going to be equal to sum of all the actual values in the expense. I'll do the formatting for this. So now we have completed for 4 tables. The last table is dip. I'll try to come and copy and paste this. So I'll say dip. And then here we'll have the categories. So is equal to if. And I'll go to the input data. So here I have. So if this is going to be equal to no value. So if this condition is true, there will be no value, or else we'll have the same value. So I'll press enter. I've got the complete table, whatever categories I had. So only I have 2 categories. Now I'll go for the plan. For credit card, it's going to be $150. And for personal loan, let's say $220. And the actual value, so same formula, I'll just try to copy and paste it and then check. So here it's R26. So credit card is selected correctly. I'll try to flash fill this and let's find the total. So it's equal to sum of all the planned values, and here it's going to be sum of all the actual values. I'll do the formatting for this. So now we have completed for all the 5 tables. So income, savings, bills, expense and debt. Now we'll come to the top and then we'll start with the dashboard. So here I'll create one more table on the dashboard. So that's going to be overview. So I'll just try to select this completely. I'll say merge center. So here I'll say overview, and then below this one, I'll have the planned value and the actual value. So I'll completely select this. I'll increase the size, make it bold, and also I'll fill in the color for this. And also I'll make this center align. So here also I'll fill in the color for the header. Now, first I'll have the rollover over here. So rollover is nothing but if you want to transfer some funds from the last time. If you want to add it over here, we can just try to add those funds over here. So that is rollover. And then I'll have my total income. Then I'll have the income saved. Then I'll have the income spent. Then I'll have the debt paid off over here. So I'll completely select this. I'll make this bold. So now let's say for rollover, I'm just planning it as $1,100 is going to be the rollover. And here the income is nothing but the total income whatever we have planned. So it's nothing but it's equal to whatever income we have over here in this table. I'll select this. So in income table, whatever we have should be the. So I'll select. And then next is income saved. So that's nothing but is equal to income savings planned whatever I have. So that should be the. Then the income spent. So here the income spent is nothing but it's going to be my total bills plus my planned expenses also. So the planned value, it's going to be the in bills, whatever it is planned, plus the expenses, whatever it is spent. So that is going to be my total spent, because all these are spendings, right? So the last is debt paid off. So that is going to be is equal to, I'll say, and then it is going to be the planned value over here. So I'll select this. So here is how we have all the values. Now the actual rollover, let me say it's going to be 0. So the income, let's say it's going to be the actual income is going to be whatever is there in the income table actual value. I'll select that. Similarly, next for the income saved, this value, the savings, I'll select it. Next, the spent, is nothing but the actual value. It's going to be the bill's actual value plus the expense actual value. So I'll select this, and for last I have debt. I'll select this actual value over. So here is my complete overview of all the income and income saved, spent, and debt paid off. Next, we'll calculate how much is left over. So I'll say left. I'll try to highlight this, make this bold, and also I'll fill in with this color. So here, how much is left is nothing but my rollover and income. I can add it, and all these are spendings. Like I have allocated some amount for savings, then I have spent some amount, and then I have paid off my debt. So here I'll say it's going to be rollover plus my income subtracted by all these things. So it's going to be my income plus my spending plus my debt paid off. So this is going to be the formula. So I'll add these two and then I'll subtract it. So now I have. So this is going to be the leftover value. Similarly, the same thing is applicable over here also. So this is the formula. So the actual value is nothing but D15 plus D16 minus, I'll just add all these things together and then I'll just subtract it. So my spending plus my debt paid off. So this is going to be my actual leftover value. Now I'll try to convert all these things to US dollars. So you can see these are currencies. So I want to just convert this into US dollars and select this completely, and I'll make it as US dollars. Now we'll create graphs for a dashboard. So now I'll try to select this completely, and then I'll go to insert, and then I'll create a chart. So here, so I'm having a combo chart. So, but I want a column chart like this. So I'll give the column chart like this. So here is my chart. So I'll go and name the chart as planned versus actual. And here you can see I have all the things. So the blue color are nothing but the planned, and actual is the red color. So since we don't have any values over here, that's why we're not having any red color. So first I'll try to select this. I'll fill this color with a theme color. So for actual, I'll just try to go and change the color to this color. So this is going to be the color. So from this one, you can easily see that how much is going to be my income, how much is saved, how much is spent, and how much debt I have paid off. So all these things, with the help of this simple chart, we can able to visualize it. Next, I'll create a small table at the bottom. So here I'll have income, then my savings, then I'll have my bills, next I'll have my expense, and last is my debt. So here what I'll do is I'm just creating this chart to create the graphs. So I'll say the planned and actual value. So the planned value, it's going to be equal to, so this value, then it's going to be equal to, for savings, this. I'll just go and select the cells. So for expense, here we have, and for debt, we have it over here. So I'll select this. Now we'll come for the actual value. So here I'll just go and select the actual values from all the tables. Now I'll try to create a graph for all my expenses, like how much I'm saving for bills, expense, and debt, how much it's going. So I'll try to select this from the savings. I'll just try to select this completely. I'll go to insert, and then I'll create a chart. So I'll go and change this to a pie chart. So here is my pie chart. So now I'll go to the top and I'll place this over here on a dashboard. I'll name this as breakdown, and I'll also go and change the colors to a theme color. So from this one, you can easily see how much percentage is going for all the expenses. Like for expense, 35%, for savings, 38%. That's good. So you can see for savings, majority amount is going. So with the help of this graph, we can easily able to visualize this. Next, I'll create a graph for my bills and expense. So how much is going for bills and how much is going for expense, we can try to find out with this. I'll select the data. I'll create a chart. So here is the chart. So I'll try to reduce the size of this, and then I'll keep it at the top of a dashboard. So I'll change this color to this, and this one, I'll change it to this color. So here you can see 84% is going for the expense and 15% is going for the bills. Here I'll name the chart as planned expenses. So for bills, there's a little amount, and for expenses, more amount is going. So like this, with the help of these charts, we'll be able to easily visualize our complete budget. So first, we created a sheet for our input data. Then we created a sheet for our complete transactions. Then with the help of these two sheets, we completely created 5 tables over here for income, savings, bills, expense, and debt. Then we had a complete overview over here. And after that, we have created different graphs to visualize what our budget is going to look like. So if you are looking to use this template, I have given the link of this complete template in the description. Please, you can go and check it out. I have also created multiple templates for tracking your personal finance, like net worth tracker, sinking funds, bill calendar, and many more. And all these templates are available for Excel and Google Sheets. And the good thing is that it comes with master resale rights and commercial rights. You can try to edit these templates as per your wish and then share it with as many people you want. If you want to download these templates, I've given the link of my website in the description. You can also visit plrdeck.com and then download these templates. I hope you would have liked this video. Do like and subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I'll see you in another Excel or Google Sheet tutorial.